Hello there, welcome to my video. My name is Mirza Ortiz, and this is my video for English syntax, which has the topic of rules for the subcategorizations restrictions of complements. We're going to analyze verb complements, object complements, and adjective complements. So let's start with verb complements. We all know what is a verb and what is the function of a verb in a sentence. And it's important to understand what verb complements are. Verb complements, as the name says, complement the verb, defines the verb, gives more information about the verb. And this type of complements are really important because without it, the sentence won't be understood. In most of the cases, we will need a verb complement. And it's important to understand the different types of complements that we can find and how we can produce these different sentences in order to achieve communication. So there is only one case where we will need a complement that are with intransitive verbs, like I breathed or she was crying. The sentence ends in the verb and it's well understood, but mostly we will need a complement. And we can use these different types of complements. So we can complement the verb with infinitives, like she loves to eat pepperoni pizza. In this case, we have a complement to it that complements the verb loves. My sister decided to go along to the concert. To go, an infinitive is complementing the verb decided. Let's continue. With gerunds, verbs can be complemented with gerunds, like my friend denied cheating in the exam, or her mother avoids going to the doctor. In this case, denied and avoids are complemented by two verbs that are in ing form because they are gerunds. Also, verbs can be complemented with noun clauses, such as he thinks that you're sad. That you're sad is a noun clause, and it's complementing the verb thinks. There are different types of verbs, and these different type of verbs will need a different type of complement and a different type of object. And let's analyze these types of verbs. Intransitive verbs, which we mentioned before that there is no need for a complement. Transitive, that need one complement that is a direct object, and mostly there will be a noun phrase. The transitive verbs that will need two types of objects, indirect and direct objects, and mostly they will be a noun phrase. Copular linking verbs can be complemented by noun phrases, prepositional phrases, or adjective phrases. Complex transitive verbs will need two complements, in this case, a direct object that will be a noun phrase, and an object predicative that will be describing the direct object that can be a noun phrase, a prepositional phrase, or an adjective phrase. We have prepositional verbs, and that the name itself clarifies that we will need a preposition for the complement of this type of verbs, and transitive prepositional verbs that will need a direct object and a directional phrase or a prepositional phrase. So now let's analyze three examples and let's see what we can learn and understand. First example, my boyfriend likes to watch romantic movies. The main verb here is like, so we're going to start analyzing from there. So like, we have the verb that is in present tense because the sentence is in present tense. We have as a complement an infinitive phrase that is to watch, and it also is complemented by a noun phrase that is romantic movies. In this case, we can notice that it's necessary to add this complement in order to understand what my boyfriend likes. Second example, her best friend is baking a birthday cake for Tom. Here we have the main verb that is bake, which is in the base form in the example in the slide. And here we have first an auxiliary verb. Why? Well, because the sentence is in present progressive tense. We have then the main verb that is in ing form, baking, because as I mentioned, the tense. We have a complement that is a birthday cake. This is the direct object, and it's complementing the verb baking, which is a transitive verb. And finally, we have here a prepositional phrase that is an oblique object that is for Tom. So this is answering the question for whom her best friend is baking a birthday cake. And a birthday cake answers the question, what is her best friend baking? So we can notice that these complements, a birthday cake and for Tom, are giving us more information to understand what her best friend is baking. Finally, Harry found Louis' concert flawless. In this case, the main verb is find, and let's analyze it. Found, that is in past tense, which is a complex verb because it needs a direct object, like I mentioned before. That is a noun phrase, Louis' concert, and this direct object is described by an objective predicative that is an adjective phrase, flawless. So in this case, we can understand what Harry found, that is Louis' concert, and what he thinks about this concert, that is that the concert was flawless. So in this case, these complements are complementing the verb in order to understand, and it is defining what Harry found. So let's continue with object complements. First, we have to understand that the object of a sentence receives the action of the verb and answer the questions to whom or for whom the action is directed. So for example, it can be a person, a thing, an animal, but it will always be talking about the action of the verb and how this object is receiving it. And an object complement describes the direct object that goes next to the verb, and it has the purpose of complementing or define the direct object. These complements can be noun phrases, pronoun phrases, or adjective phrases. So in this case, we have 3 examples to analyze. So let's start. Niall named his new album Heartbreak Weather. So in this case, his new album is the object. So we have here, it's a noun phrase, his new album is a direct object, and we have also a noun phrase that is a proper name for the new album, that is Heartbreak Weather. That is the name of the album. So that is why it's a noun phrase. Let's continue with the second example. Peter chose the bag which was cheaper. The bag is the object of this sentence. It's a noun phrase and is the direct object. And we have here a pronoun phrase that is complementing the object, that is the bag, and is describing and giving more information about the bag. And we need that because we need to understand why Peter chose this bag. And finally, we have Carrie offered me a new cell phone. In this case, the object is a pronoun, me, and we have a complement for it, that is a new cell phone. It's a noun phrase, and we can notice that a new cell phone is needed to understand what was offered to me. Now, finally, let's analyze adjective complements. There are different types of complements for adjectives. So this is another case where we won't need more to add to an adjective. There are adjectives alone, like in the sentence, Tamara is sensible. That's it, we don't need more, it's well understood. But there are other types of complements that will be needed for an adjective, like pronominal adjectives that will be followed by a noun phrase or a prepositional phrase. Like the city is far from here. Far, the adjective, is complemented by this prepositional phrase from here. There are also another complements for adjectives that are adjectives that are followed by a prepositional phrase, like she's famous for her TikTok account. Famous is the adjective, and it's complemented by this prepositional phrase. We have also adjectives that are followed by infinitives, like they are surprised to see you. Surprised, the adjective is complemented by the infinitive, to see you. Also, we have clauses as complements, like Mary is excited because she will go to New York. Because she will go to New York, this clause is complemented this verb, excited. So let's analyze 3 examples. Taylor is a talented singer. In this case, talented is an adjective, and it's complemented by a noun phrase. So we need this complement so the sentence is coherent. Without it will be Taylor is a talented, and we need more information to understand it. Second example, MJ is excited to meet her long distance boyfriend. Excited here is the adjective. We have an infinitive phrase that is complemented the adjective, and we also have a noun phrase that is complemented the sentence. And finally, we have Jay was furious with his manager. In this case, we have an adjective that is furious, and it's complemented by a prepositional phrase. In this case, we need a prepositional phrase in order to understand why Jay was furious and to have more information according to the context of why this is happening. So to conclude, I would like to mention the importance of complements. Complements are needed in a sentence. We need to use them, and we need to use them also coherently in order to achieve communication, to have these conversations with different people and to communicate in a positive way. And also if we are writing or anything else, or we are using any other means of communication, we will need to know what information to add to a sentence and how to add it. So that's why we need to be aware of why we will need a prepositional phrase or maybe a noun phrase or an adjective phrase. So all of that will help us to become proficient speakers or proficient in the English language. So that's it for today. I hope you like it, and these are my references. Thank you so much for watching.